Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are checking out Dreamcatcher's EP of Fall Asleep in the Mirror. And okay, first off, can we talk about how good the title is, given all of the mirror imagery in the Good Night music video? But also, I think of like mirrors as like almost like looking glasses into like the supernatural spirit, other world kind of thing. So like the idea of falling asleep in front of one of those is like you're falling asleep in front of a looking glass into like the other world, right? So it like infects how that nightmare is going to be and things like that. So love the title just in and of itself. But we also have a couple of tracks. We have the intro, My Toys, which I love that they have like intros and outros to their albums. I think it just shows that they put a lot of weight in the creation of their albums. And like, not that not everybody puts a lot of work into their albums, but I think that some people see albums as like a specific form for their music, and then like singles are something else. And then there are some people who just have like albums as like a collection of music that is more, I don't know, like it all works together thematically, but it doesn't necessarily need to be in that order, you know? Whereas like other albums, the construction of the album is like a piece of art in and of itself. And I feel like having an intro and outro kind of lends to that idea of someone really wanting to create albums and have them function like within that form, as opposed to other ways of consuming their music. Anyway, long tangent to say we're going to be listening to their intro track, and then also the B-side, Lullaby. Love the idea of that being the song that comes after Good Night, being a lullaby. I'm assuming maybe it's going to be a ballad? We'll have to see. Which of course there's a special clip for that one. So lots of things in this. Let's check out this intro first and see what kind of the setup is. I feel like it might lean into the music box stuff that we heard at the beginning of Good Night, but I'll have to see. Oh, and also if you're wondering why we're not doing Good Night, I've already listened to it, so you can go check it out in other parts of my channel if you want my reaction to Good Night and the music video and stuff like that. I get very excited. So let's get into the rest of this album. Okay, first track. Interesting. Ooh. It's like environmental. Not in a like save the trees kind of way, but like in a like there's a sonic environment to the song. Like we have the breathing, the footsteps, but also there's this feeling of almost like space to it because of the like percussion that's happening. Probably not explaining it super well, but I wasn't expecting the kind of narrative elements to be within the production. Especially after how like Chase Me ended. Is this like the man getting away? And now he's in the room with like all the books and stuff? Ooh. Why did I get shivers with that, with like the knocking? I was like, but I feel like that's good then. Like the fact that they could put me on edge with just the production, right? Like I can't see anything. And I think that's part of like having the narrative elements in it, is that it feels more tactile. Like it feels like it's something happening around you. I feel like I need to like check around me that there's nothing there, because I'm just like, I don't know, it had an effect on me. Am I gonna let's do it again? Yeah. I think it's the production cutting out too. Ooh. Love the guitar. Ooh, okay. I love the guitar solo. And the like twin guitars, like we have like multiple guitars layered on top of each other too. Love that. Like one that's kind of slower, and then you have like the one that's like at the forefront. This brings me joy after the like creepy beginning. And then back into the like music box. But then ominous piano key ringing out at the end. Ooh, interesting. Like I love their intros and their outros for their albums, and part of that is that it like really sets the like sonic mood for the album because it kind of bookends it, right? And the intro really is a way of saying like, this is what the album is going to be about. And I love that they set it up with that like creepy feeling. Like I had like an actual like physical reaction to just being creeped out by like something about that knock. It's like all the production goes out and that knock happens. Oh, just like all the like suspense build up and then it all like, cuts out. There's just something about that like freaks me out, and like that kind of sets up this idea of like what the kind of horror elements are going to be for, you know, Good Night that comes next. But then also we have like all that guitar and stuff, which of course is something else that's in like Good Night. And then we come back to the kind of like music box, and again we have Lullaby at the end, so maybe we'll get something that's a little bit more like a lullaby, like a music box that kind of ties in everything. It's kind of like the album in miniature. Maybe that's my theory going on to the next song, but I loved it. Anything that can make me have like a physical reaction in that way of like being creeped out just by like knocking in a production, you've done your job well. So we have a special clip, which I know about now because I've been listening to their stuff for a little bit, with captions that are translated. So we're gonna try and do it all in one. We'll see how it goes. Special clips, usually I'm okay with like getting lyrics and visuals because it's not like super story heavy in the way that their other MVs are. It is just like really chaotic because it's a little bit more pulled back, a little more personal, right? We're telling stories to each other. Let's see what Lullaby has for us because I feel like it's gonna be more ballad, that kind of a thing. Love the kind of old camera feeling. Oh, I don't like them all looking sad by themselves though. Ugh. And I mean that in the best way. Oh my gosh, I did not expect Sua to come in and to give those beautiful vocals. Just okay. Okay, shivers. Completely different from what I got from the intro. And I love how they're continuing the story that was like in A Good Night, which was like the idea of like kind of like beckoning someone into a dream, right? And like saying like you're gonna be stuck here. Whereas this one is more I love the opening line of like close your eyes and look at me, like the idea of like we can only exist in kind of this dream that we've created, and kind of needing someone to stay in that dream with you. And yeah, like that, I love that continuation of the two sides of that concept. Also oh, that little melody, but also Gahyun's smile there is like bittersweet. This though, I want to leave this moment because you're not here. Ugh, like get me right in my heart. Am I gonna cry in this? We're only like 30 seconds in. So the harmonies. I love the acoustic. Ooh, that switch with the drums coming in, but like that line of like, I've waited here every day, but I don't know if I can tomorrow as well, like gets me in my feelings of like this idea of like, it's almost that feeling of feeling like you can put something off, right? Of saying like tomorrow, someday, like, and you don't really think about it in the moment because you always feel like you have more time, especially when it comes to like spending time with people, is that you always say like, oh, I can call them tomorrow, I can see them another day. And that idea of like, what if you can't though? And what if it's something that can't wait? You just don't know that yet. And I think especially for Dreamcatcher, who is re-debuted, I feel like that is something that they really feel. Like I even said in my good night reaction where I said like the idea of like them being successful enough that they were able to do another album like this, do more releases, have another comeback is no small feat. And I'm sure that there was something in their head that said, maybe we don't get another shot. Like maybe we do the one comeback and that's it. And, you know, we've tried and we can't do this again. So like, I feel like this song is that idea of they don't feel like this is going to stay, right? And it's like this idea of wanting, you know, Insomnia to stay, wanting the members to stay, wanting to continue to have this group and this career and be able to continue with this, especially after I watched Road to Fame, where you can hear them talking about what brought them into music and how it's something that is so important and intuitive to who they are, that it's like, what do they do if they don't have this? So it's that idea of like, I want to live in my dream and I want you to stay here with me and let us just close our eyes and keep dreaming and be together, because if you don't come and join me in this dream today, I might not have another chance tomorrow. I don't know, it's beautiful and it's hopeful, but it's melancholy and I love it, but it's also gonna make me cry. Those drums came in though. I wasn't expecting that. Who did those backing vocals though? Was that who was doing the ad-libs in the back? Beautiful, hauntingly beautiful. Beautiful. I love that melody right before the chorus, but also I feel like I might be onto something with the idea of, I mean, obviously the idea of not wanting to lose their fans as part of this too, but I think it's also not wanting to lose the members, especially for the members that were like in Minx before this, who have known each other for a long time. Not that like the newcomers aren't also super important to them, but when you've spent that much time working together and trying to make this happen and you have that shared dream and thinking you might not make it, and like having them all separated in their own spaces, I think is also very telling. I was thinking about the special clip that I saw before this. What was the song title? I can't think of it. But they were sitting and just singing all together, as opposed to this one where it's a little bit more going on, where they're like in different spaces. It's not just like sat singing together, but there's this feeling of like isolation and these kind of run down places. And yeah, I think it says a lot about their kind of fear of having to wake up from this dream someday and they're alone. They don't have all these people that they've come to care about along the way of creating it. Ugh. Oh, their smiles though. I love also the line of like, I'll sing this lullaby. Like, it's also that idea of like, they're literally singing to keep you here, right? Like they're singing to keep their dream going. But I also take it with their like smiles. It's also kind of a lullaby and like the reassurance of it's okay if you have to leave, right? I think there's also this feeling of knowing that this isn't something that is going to last forever, because nothing lasts forever in the same way. Like it's going to be something that changes and evolves, and any kind of creative venture or relationship or anything changes and evolves, and it's not going to be the exact same that it is today tomorrow. So there is this feeling of like kind of reassurance of like, at least we got to have the memory, right? Like we got to have each other for a little while. We got to be in this dream for a little while, and no one can take that away. If you're a fan of Dreamcatcher, you're always going to have that in your head. You're always going to have experienced their music and had comfort from their music, and, you know, watched a funny video of them when you were feeling sad and all that kind of stuff. No one can take that away from you, even if some point, hopefully way down the line, they aren't a group anymore. No one can take away the fact that you have those memories with them and what those memories mean to you. So it's, you know, it has those two sides to it of like that fear of losing something, but also trying to be okay with it. You know, like the reassurance of like knowing that it's going to happen at some point. You just don't want to happen right now. His face though. Nope. Between like Jiu's expression and then like the idea, like I just said, like, oh my god, I'm tearing up. Of like needing to let go and like finding a way to be okay with that. Literally the line coming up of like letting someone go, like needing to open your eyes at some point, and you know, dreams don't last forever. Eventually you wake up. That's just the nature of those dreams. But also that note, I was like, Handan, don't make me cry, because she can. And then Jiu's face, her facial expression while she was singing, and then she and this the like smoke coming in too. Okay, it is not fair for them to have Yehyun singing and then Shion doing ad-libs in the back. It's wonderful, but overwhelming to me. I feel so many things. Ugh. I want them to be together though. That last line ripped my heart. Oh no! Oh, I didn't know we were crying. God, that was so beautiful. And like the last line, because it was a repeat, it was something that had been said before of like, lullaby, like don't go today, right? It's a repeated line that had happened in the chorus up to that point, but having it be the last line after they're saying like, eventually I know I'm gonna have to let you go, and eventually you're gonna open your eyes and you're gonna move on from this, and I'm gonna have to move on from this, but then ending on that like, but don't go today, is what like ripped my heart out. like not now. And that's such a powerful line of like that being kind of the last wish, right? Of like knowing that there is going to be an inevitable end to everything and that eventually you have to move on from a dream, but it doesn't have to be today. And also I feel like there's some kind of hope in that, because today is always the present, right? Like tomorrow is always in relation to right now. So right now is always today. So technically, if I'm not allowed to leave today, it'll always be today. Am I saying this to reassure myself? Yes, I'm in too deep at this point, okay? I still have tears in my eyes. We're not leaving today. It's okay. But it was so beautiful. I loved all of the kind of nuance to that song, and how the more I was listening to it and the more lyrics were coming up, I was getting more to what the story was about in that song and like what they were feeling. I just really wanted to see them all together in a shot, because I just felt like they needed that, you know? I was like, comfort each other. You know, that's where I'm at. I like seeing them all separate for the whole video was like off-putting to me. I'm like, y'all should be together. So there are lots of different things in it that I loved, and I think even though there weren't anything that was like super, I don't know, complex like imagery wise, and that goes for like lyrics and for the video, I think that adds to the sincerity of it. You know, I kind of said it before, like special clips are like just like the two of us having a conversation, right? It's like friends to friends. And I feel like there's a kind of vulnerability to that because it's without all of these other things that they can kind of use at their disposal to explain how they're feeling, whether that's storyline, whether that's visuals or dance or whatever. In the special clips, a lot of that is taken away because it becomes more about genuine expression of whatever it is that they're doing. And they create these special clips as like a kind of like bonus, you know, for people who are fans of them and just want to see some more of them. And I feel like having that lack of a ton of like imagery storytelling, both lyrically and visually, adds to the sincerity, right? There's no like, I don't know, metaphors and similes that you kind of have to sift through. There was like a very important key metaphor of like lullabies and dreams, which was a continuation of what they were already doing. And they were like, let's just talk about that, but in a more vulnerable place, and push that to what it would mean if we were just talking to like Samia, right? As opposed to with Good Night, which is more about bringing new people in and, you know, being something that they can perform at like shows and more people are going to see the MV and that kind of a thing. Whereas like Lullaby is like, what do we want to say to the people who are already fans and what they mean to us and what we mean to each other as a group and that kind of a thing. And it just, ripped my heart out. So very, very different from the intro. I feel like there's so much happening in this, like just like 3 tracks of this. I guess there's the instrumental for Goodnight as well, but like so much of like the really like creepy stuff that happened in the intro to the very like upbeat, fast pace, but also would slow down and kind of interesting choices with like distorted vocals and then production things that happened in Goodnight. And then having Lullaby, which was like this more vulnerable storytelling and I don't know, kind of like how this is something that's important enough that it matters if it breaks, you know, like there's a fragility to it, not in the sense of like it's easily broken, but in that it can be broken. You know, if something doesn't matter to you, then I feel like it can't break you because it's not important enough. Something goes wrong with something you don't care about, you just shrug it off and you can move on. And, you know, maybe it's like a story that you tell later. Whereas the things that matter, those are the things that can break you. So there's a fragility to those things that matter, but in like the best way, because it makes you take care of them and it makes you aware of needing to take care of them. So I feel like that's kind of the awareness that came out in that song. But I feel like I need to take a walk or something because I'm like all in my feelings. I maybe listen to like Goodnight again or Chase Me to like, you know, get back into a place of like hype energy because I never thought I was so scared of like, I feel like especially if you listen to the song when it came out, there'd be so much more fear of not getting more. Whereas like now I'm like, there are a bunch of other albums, it's okay. Like I'm reassuring myself of like, there's a bunch of more music. It's okay. They're not going anywhere. It's fine. So like, I feel like that's what I need my reassurance for, of like knowing that they're still going to be there. But I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this place to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to the next time I post a Dreamcatcher reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.